Right, morning, we are back in this job again, and today's mission is get this skimmed up, which I'll do in a minute, and then carry on with the skirtings, which are obviously all around here. Get them cut in, and I've just been marking out some sort of thing for paneling. I just spoke to the girl who's here, and we're just deciding on the heights for paneling, and they don't really want it full height because they want to be able to potentially get clocks and whatever. They just don't want it full height, so we sort of aimed for about this height. So I'm just sort of tracing a bit of skirting, which is about 6 inches, which I think is quite a good size for the paneling. So it's just all about getting an equal balance so the panel looks like something. It's going to take a little bit of working out, I think, but that's roughly the area that we're covering. So we're just coming from the end of the bench up across the top of there, and then down the end of the bench there. So I will work out something that gives it some sort of equal distancing, but my brain can't compute that at the minute. So I'm just going to knock up a good little stiff mix and chuck that on, I think, first of all. So as it's such a little mix to do, I thought I'd do it in the back of the van really, and this is where these come in handy, these little cordless mixers. I haven't got the big DeWalt one. I just bought a little Makita one, which surprisingly enough, the size of the thing, when you actually buy it, it does say that it's not for plaster. I don't know what they want you to mix up with this thing. Maybe paints and things like that, but it does say it's not for plaster, but it does work for plaster, it's fine. And it wasn't as dear. I think the DeWalt one is about 500 quid. I think that was about, I don't know, it was less than half of that, I'm pretty sure. But it's a good little thing, but it's great for little mixes. If you've just got a little bit to mix up like I have, just knock it up in the back of the van. You haven't got to start traipsing all this stuff to and from then. So let's get on. So there's a first quick coat on that, and that's just going to sit there for 15-20 minutes really before I can get on with it. It's gone quite thick around some of the beads, so I had to pull a bit of bead out yesterday. My boxing in wasn't as straight as it should have been, so I just had to pull a bead out a bit at the bottom, so it's quite deep just going up to there. That tucked in nicely just where the socket is, so I wanted to leave myself with basically the plaster up against the edge of the socket. I didn't want a little gap between the socket where you've got to try and get a paintbrush down if they wanted different wall colours to the boxing or whatever. So I just wanted to bring it up as tight really. So that's all good. So right, without further ado, I'm going to walk back across the road to my house and make a cup of tea while that takes off. That's the second coat all on now, so while that's drying, I'm going to go and cut a bit of skirting board. So here's my little cutting setup. Sometimes I make these videos and I just presume that everyone knows what these tools do, but some of you may not, so I'll just show you really. So this is a little Festool dust extractor. You can use it as a vacuum cleaner as well, but basically, obviously that plugs into the wall, And then whatever power tool you're using to go with it, if it's got a cord on it, you can then plug that tool into this. And then as soon as you turn the tool on, in this case it's the mitre saw, as soon as you turn it on, the vacuum in that kicks in. So it's sucking all the dust from the hose, which is attached to the back of the saw. And then I've just rigged up this just to keep it out of the way. And obviously that goes into the machine where the dust bag is, which is under there. Now that's brilliant because it means you haven't got to switch your hoover on while you're cutting that, and then as soon as you stop cutting that, you've got to switch the hoover off. It just kicks in and out. I presume most people watching this would know, but if you don't know, that's what they do. They're about 500 quid, but it's a sort of thing that will probably last me the rest of my working life. It's really good. I know they do the Merca one, which has got like a dome top on it, but I never understand that. I mean, this has got a flat top on it. You can sit on it, you can put your sander back down on it once you finish sanding. That's predominantly what I bought it for, was for sanding. So if I was in someone's house and I was sanding, obviously I'm not going to be chucking dust everywhere, because when you use it as a sanding, with the sander on the end of it, it basically does take all the dust down. You don't really get any sort of dust in the air with it. So they're brilliant. So 500 quid, but definitely 500 quid well spent if you're going to be doing this for a living. So, and then obviously I've got my normal Henrys for my other bits and pieces. But yeah, this is great. So let's start cutting some wood. That's that finished now. That can just dry off for a bit, and I might try and get a bit of skirting on it later, but there's no rush for that. So I've brought all this over here now. I did have it set up in my garage, but it was like back and forward, back and forward. It was really not the best way to do it. So I just brought it over here, gave all the floor mop over from the plaster, and yeah, I should just put you on some sort of time lapse while I cut these bits of skirting. when you're fitting skirting, you may come across sort of problems like this. Now, I'm trying to get a nice, perfect corner mitre between these two. And the face of this is nice and flat. But this bit is being thrown out. And the reason for that is, whoever plastered this bit, they've sort of come proud of the bead and you've got a bit of a round going over. So what I always do there is just mark a pencil line above the skirting and then cut that bit out. Just take that bit out with a chisel or a knife or whatever. So your skirting then is going to sit underneath this bit of touch, but that's not going to matter once it's all corked in. But it means that you're going to get a decent level, so these externals can meet together properly without being thrown out, because that's really all the eye sees, is that bit. So there you go, just by spending a couple of minutes taking that out, now letting that skirting sit in a bit better now. So once that's all on, glued, corked, actually that could go back a touch, but once that's had its cork on it, you're going to get a much better fit there. Awkward bit here, so I've got this little bit that fits fine down there, and then we come down and we've got these tiles in the way, so we're going to have to take out a little bit all the way down to the bottom there, let that sit in a bit. Right, let's see how that fits. There we go, not too shabby. This is off, a little bit off square, this lot, so it's alright. I've got a little bit of a gap down that end, but I'll put some 2-part in that. Sometimes you can cut them to size, sort of dry, but when you fit them, there's a little bit of a pushback, so that's all right. I've got white 2-part, I'll stick that down there. That's that one. And that one there, all good. All good, all good, all good. So I'm just going to cut a little bit to go across that new plaster now. Skirtings and architraves done now. I'm going to get on with some painting because I didn't yesterday. I said I was going to, but I just didn't get around to it. So I'm going to get on with the ceiling, get that done, and get all the tops of these walls in. And for the panelling, I've just looked at on Amazon really, which seemed like the best thing to do. Just order a kit off there, enough to cover this what I want. I was going to get a sheet of 9mm MDF and cut it down with a track saw, but I just thought, what's the point? By the time you've bought it and set up and cut down and all the aggro that goes with that, might as well just order it from Amazon. So I've got a kit that comes with 8 1-metre lengths and 8 500 lengths. So I think they're 100mm high. So that should bring me up to about 700, which is about there, which is give or take what they've asked for. So that should be arriving on Thursday. It's Tuesday now. And it should be, you're going to get some lovely clean lines with that. I mean, it's okay with a track saw, but surely whatever comes from the factory is better than what these old hands can do. I'm leaving it there for today. That's everything that sort of what I wanted to get done is done. All the skirtings are on, everything's corked up, looking nice and neat and tidy. Corks all up the edges, up and down everywhere. Tops of the skirtings. I've given all the walls and ceilings in here a quick couple of coats. Let's try and step back a bit. Yeah, it's starting to look a bit more uniform. It's like a white, almost like an antique white really. And yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to get on with getting this coated up with this primer they've left me here. MDF primer. I'm going to try and spray that on here. Just to give it a seal up, and probably these edges will need some work on as well. These raw edges on MDF are sods because as soon as they get a bit of moisture on them, they start fluffing out on the edges again. So they need a little light rub down. But I've got some real fine filler for that. I might even give them a little fine fill. We'll see how we go. We'll see how it covers. So that'll be the first thing on it. Then I might even give it a Zinza BIM primer. That one there. and then it's going to have this, which I've not used before, this one. This Valspar multi-surface and furniture interior. Get me mixed in any colour. Hopefully it's alright. I've used some Valspar stuff before and it's always been pretty good really. So we'll see. I don't know what it says about priming and stuff like that, but it's all going to have a proper prime anyway. So that's it for today. I will see you all tomorrow.